Everybody, how's it going? What's going on? Nice to see you all. Oh, here we are, back in sunny Cyprus, doing the thing. Been back a while now, about a week or so. Indra, how are you? We've got a very interesting transmission for you. I always say that though, don't I? I've got a very interesting transmission for you tonight. So, hey Crystal, how you going? I'd just like to welcome everybody who's watching on replay and everybody who's watching the live stream. Hey Angelina, how are you doing? How are you doing this afternoon? It's lovely to have you. I'm Helen Christodoulou. I am your intuitive transformation consultant, mentor, teacher and author of the Miracle Frequency. I'm very good, thank you Angelina. How are you, my darling? Lovely to have you in the house. So of course, as we always say at the beginning of the show, of the Fusion 7 Healing Mystery School show, if you have any friends or followers that are interested in the metaphysical, in the esoteric stuff, in sacred geometry, in the mysteries of the cosmos, then I do invite you to share on and have your followers watch this transmission. It's lovely to have you. What's going on? So, what are we going to chat about this evening? Well, we're going to chat about New Age bullshit misconceptions. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, these can go on forever, but I'm going to give you about 7 or 8 of those this evening, just to kind of, you know, get it rolling and perhaps roll out or bang out another 7 or 8 or so on Wednesday. So 7 or 8, depending on how I feel, New Age bullshit misconceptions that we really must leave behind. We need to leave these things behind because they have been coined as truths, but they are not. They are actually misconceptions. So, are you ready to hear about those? If it's a yes, then show me some emojis so I know that you are ready. So, before we go on, I just want to say that they were actually quite valid at the beginning of our awakening. Thank you, Angelina. I see that you are ready, my love. So, at the beginning of our awakening and the beginning of our paths, of course, this was all, you know, very important stuff. But now it's time to move past all that. It is now to move on, is it not, Bresolini? Yeah, we need to move on from all of that because everything moves, everything changes, and we're provided with certain types of frequencies and information at different times of our lives. And I find it really, really important. Hello, how are you doing? I find it really, really important that we need to kind of bypass those now. We need to transcend those now. And the way to do that is to first know what it is that we have been teaching, preaching, have been fed perhaps, or even, you know, things that we have been feeding others, you know. We're all responsible for it. So here we go. So the first New Age misconception or bullshit truth that has been around for a very, very long time is that we must avoid the negative. We must avoid the negative. Now, this simply is not possible, Truth Crew. We can't just avoid the negative because then we become ignorant, yes? And we can also become quite compliant when we ignore, you know, what's in front of our face, ignoring, you know, real life stuff, events that are going on. By just ignoring them and playing happy-go-lucky, you've got to be really careful because it means that you can become compliant to the situation and also complacent to it as well. So, we need to look at truth in order to correct it. We need to look at the negative in order to put it right, okay? By just ignoring it, all you're doing basically is sweeping it under the carpet. Okay, so that's the first bullshit New Age truth that we need to look at, and I do invite you to contemplate on these once we've gone through them. Okay, so here we go to number 2. We must always be happy. We must always be happy or even emotionless. A lot of people believe that when you get to a certain state of spirituality, or when you've done like a, you know, quite a load of work on yourself, that it means that you always need to be poker-faced and that you always need to be happy. That's simply not the way it rolls, especially if you are in the game of truth, which is, you know, what my work is all about, then it doesn't always necessarily involve being happy all of the time. Truth can be quite serious, it can be fun as well, and it's great, and it will liberate you at the end of the day. But the bottom line is that we cannot just be one emotion. And on the other side of the spectrum, we can't be emotionless either, yeah, because some people feel that when you get to a certain stage of evolution or spirituality or esoteric gnosis, that you've got to be quite neutral and completely emotionless and on this kind of, you know, this neutrality level. Well, that's just simply not being human, basically. So that's no good either, right? So you need to embrace all of your emotions at all levels, because that's what makes us human. It's also what makes us honest. It makes us truth, it makes us humble, and it makes us very, very real also. So very, very important to embrace all of your emotions. The third New Age misconception, or bullshit, is that we must always forgive. I mean, forgiveness is a wonderful virtue, and I'm not against it by any means, but there's the right time and the right place for that, and you've got to feel it from the depths of your soul and the bottom of your heart in order to truly embrace the virtue of forgiveness. If you can't do it wholeheartedly, thanks for the hearts, do appreciate it. If you can't do it wholeheartedly, or completely from, you know, your soul and your mind and your heart, then you're not doing it at all. So don't fool yourself, okay? So that is our, what is that? Our third New Age bullshit misconception. The fourth one, guys, is that there's this belief that there is no right or wrong. Yeah, right, Angelina, that there's no right and that there's no wrong. That is an absolute load of bullcrap. Of course there is right, and of course there is wrong. Now, the forgiveness and the right and the wrong, they sort of like coincide a little bit, yeah? Because let's just say, for example, God forbid, I'm just using a really extreme example here, right? Let's just say that randomly, I mean, nothing's random, but anyhow, what appears to be randomly that, you know, a member of your family or your child, God forbid, is raped, okay? I don't feel that the person in question automatically deserves a hall pass of forgiveness, okay? There needs to be certain criteria in order to be able to dish out forgiveness. So, yeah, right, so you can't just kind of dish it out because you would be lying to yourself, okay? And that coincides with our fourth point, which is there is such a thing as right and wrong. It doesn't mean that if you find it within your heart to forgive this person, that what he or she did is right, okay? So right and wrong are very different things, and we do need to have a very good discernment of both, and where to draw the line in many situations in our lives in order to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and our community, or perhaps even our property. Need to be careful with that one. Otherwise you will become a doormat, so you want to be careful with that, yeah? Daysby, how you doing there? So our New Age misconception, guys, number 5 is every path leads you to what is meant to be. Wrong, it does not. Sometimes we need to steer things, we need to take things by the short and curlies, and we need to direct it wherever it needs to go. And on other occasions, we need to just sort of like allow the universe to take control of the situation and allow it to guide us. So we need a balance of both. However, if you just completely leave things to, you know, the current of others or the universe, you may be steered in a very different direction from the one that you wanted to be in. Hi Setin, how you doing? So we need to be really, really aware of that one because not everything that is meant to happen, that is destined to happen, will just happen if you just allow things out of your hands. Sometimes it can, but I would say keep a close eye on that, so that, you know, you are contributing and you are involved in your destiny and what is meant to be. So that takes us to New Age bullshit number 6. Every individual truth is the absolute truth. Wrong. No, it isn't. There's a big difference between universal, immutable truths and what it is that you believe to be true. Because we are human, we have forgotten, we are in a state of amnesia, and every layer of our perception is a layer of illusion that we need to get through. It's like a hurdle, and each one that we overcome and each one that we cross will take us to a new layer of this so-called truth. However, perception of truth has nothing to do with the immutable truths which are a part of universal and cosmic law. So these are the things that you need to be looking at, and if you look at some of my content, I do explain in more detail what exactly these universal truths are, and it also belongs to something called Hermeticism. So you may want to start by studying those, and that will take you to what is known as immutable truth. What's up, Car Cranking? How you doing? So the seventh New Age misconception or bullshit truth, okay, that we have here is the law of attraction will save your ass. No, it will not. Or perhaps the law of attraction, when you follow it, thanks for the hearts, guys, will manifest your abundance. No, it won't. That is an absolute crock of shit. Okay? And the reason why that is so is because there has been a lot of hype about the law of attraction, which is a deep metaphysical law that is linked to another six universal laws. So the law of attraction will not be complete and will not be as effective or efficient if you don't understand the functions and the mechanics of the other 6 laws and perhaps the bylaws that are under those whole 7 laws. Yeah, absolutely. It is very popular these days, but it's become really corny and very marketed, and it simply doesn't roll. It doesn't roll because it is incomplete, and it does not include the whole of the immutable truth, which is why it is a bullshit New Age truth that we need to get rid of. And let's go into our bonus and last one for today. Going to chuck in an 8th one for you. The 8th New Age bullshit truth that we must leave behind, and that is that a lot of us, Truth Crew, believe that ETs, extraterrestrials, religious figures or entities will come and save the world. No. Okay, the answer is no. So yes, some of these figures may be the real deal, perhaps, and some may be not. Some may be benevolent and some may be malevolent. But the truth is that if we are going to save our souls and save the planet and all of that stuff, then we ourselves must be responsible for that. Okay? I'm not saying abandon your faith or whatever it is that you believe in, although sometimes we do have to abandon some of that stuff. However, what I am saying is that we are the ones that need to change what it is that's going on inside of us, in our environments, in our relationships, in our electromagnetic fields, and take responsibility and accountability for what it is that is going on, and that is the real deal that's going to create lasting change. Not a figure from somewhere out of this planet or a religious scripture. They're not going to do it. We have to do it. So guys, that concludes our 8 New Age bullshit truths that we must leave behind. It was part 1. I hope that you enjoyed it. Do share it on. You can also catch it. Thank you very much, my darling. You can also catch this and many of my other transmissions and my work on my YouTube channel, Helen Christodoulou. Go ahead and subscribe to that. There's stuff on there that I don't do on live streaming. For example, I just uploaded the interview that I did in the UK on a UK television show. And it's all about transformation, where I was interviewed, and you can catch that on my YouTube channel, so I invite you to that. In the meantime, may the immutable truth be the guiding force that's always with you. Imaste be ye. It means we are primary source. I look forward to seeing you again Wednesday. Take care for now. Lots of love and have a wonderful week. So until then, be well, enjoy, be good. If you can't be good, then definitely be careful. Ciao for now.